Women educators are natural givers, pouring into their students, their families, and communities. But what about pouring into you? This is the Educator Sanctuary, where we help you ditch the guilt and unapologetically put yourself at the top of your list. I'm Dr. Leah, educator, mindset coach, and your guide to creating a life where you align with your purpose and reclaim your power. So if you're ready to set boundaries and step fully into the woman you're meant to be, you're definitely in the right place. Let's get into it. Hey, and welcome to the Educator Sanctuary, where we have big conversations, mindset shifts, personal growth, and all the things that help you live more intentionally. I am so glad you are here today because I'm going to be talking about something that feels like it's just perfect for this time of year, and that is a fall reset. We are now officially in the season, and summer is my favorite season of the year. But we are coming up on the season where the days are getting shorter, the trees are shedding their leaves and looking so colorful and pretty. The animals are preparing for rest, and the whole world is kind of naturally calibrating as we sip on anything pumpkin spice. And don't say anything out there, but I love me some pumpkin spice and apples and caramel. We're just sitting and we're relaxing and we're ready to cozy up and get on the couch and kick up our feet and watch movies, right? We're in that, we know that it's naturally coming up on what we would consider a resting season, but it's also harvest season, literally for nature, but metaphorically for us. This is now the perfect time to think about what you have been sowing in your life and how you want to harvest that over the next few months. And I don't want you to think of harvest in terms of like just a goals list, because this is much bigger than that. This is about alignment, about intention, and about actually reaping what you've planted, not grinding through the motions. It's literally about stopping and asking yourself, am I really doing the work that will give me the harvest? This is the part of the show where I always give my personal input. But I've been reflecting on my own harvest season this year. I've been thinking about my school and my business, just life in general. And people always say things like, your life can literally be different in 6 months or 8 months, or a year, or something like that. And I used to always hear that and wonder how, like, what are you all doing? Because I'm doing all the things, but nothing's looking vastly different year over year. And now I'm into this trend where I just love looking at it, and not sure if you're on TikTok or what side of TikTok you're on, but on my side of TikTok, I am loving this trend where they have celebrities, particularly those that are in relationships of some kind, and they are comparing their journeys, right? Where they started. And so they have dollar amounts attached to the bottom of these. So where someone's net worth was literally zero, and then you watch their net worth go to 0.3 million, and then you watch their net worth go to 0.5 million, and then you watch their net worth go to 1 million, and it just jumps, right? And a lot of these people have made vast jumps of 0 to 20 million, 40 million, 50 million, 450 million in a matter of like 10 years, like a decade. And if you really think about it, like, where was your life a decade ago and where is it now? And is it vastly different? That vastly different. So when I've been thinking about this and looking at this trend, and it's really exciting me, honestly. But I've always thought of myself as a hard worker, right? I used to grind so hard, always putting my head down, always creating something, always ready and willing to do the physical work, staying up late, planning, executing. always have a new idea or a new venture that I would love somebody to support. But a lot of times, all of that work didn't turn out to be much of anything. It's like that song, all this work and what did it get me? Do, do, do. I'm just being silly. Okay. But seriously, I had a lot of disappointments because I was doing the work to reach these goals, but yet I was feeling like I wasn't getting very far. I was writing the goals on my vision board. I was putting the vision board on my wall, putting it on my mirror, and things just were not coming to fruition like I thought they were. So, if you know me, you know I love to be a reader of all things personal development. And so I've read a lot of books. Chances are, if you actually gave me a title, I've read it or it's in my library. I thought I was doing the inner work. I was praying, doing my devotionals, going to church, reading, learning, everything. But for some reason, that inner alignment obviously wasn't there because I wasn't getting to where I wanted or needed to be. And here is what I realized. If the work you're doing isn't aligned with your purpose, hey, Educator Sanctuary listeners. Are you a homeschooling mom or thinking about it, but feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or maybe unsure how to confidently guide your child's learning journey? Maybe you're craving time for self-care, rest, or just a break, but you feel like you're doing it all on your own without anyone to turn to for help. Let me introduce you to Purpose Prep Academy, an online and in-person STEAM micro school for learners in grades K-8. Purpose Prep Academy isn't just any school. It's a space where young minds are nurtured, empowered, and taught to lead with confidence, curiosity, and purpose. Purpose Prep Academy focuses on providing students with the academic tools they need while fostering personal growth to help them thrive both inside and outside the classroom. At Purpose Prep Academy, they offer personalized learning, foster critical thinking, and provide real-world applications to help students become 21st century leaders and change makers. If you're looking for a program that can help you reclaim your time, give you peace of mind, or simply give your child a space to thrive, Purpose Prep Academy could be exactly what you've been looking for. Want to learn more? Visit purposeprepacademy.org to schedule a virtual meeting or an experience day and find out if Purpose Prep Academy is the right fit for your family. It's not going to give you the harvest that is intended to reach you. It reminds me of how my pastor has been talking about the people wandering in the wilderness, right? So what was supposed to be a 2-week journey, a quick trip, ended up being a 40-year journey. Something that should have been quick turned into decades. That is so crazy. But literally because of their unbelief and their confusion and small disobediences. And I realize that this is what happens to us in life too. We can be working hard, we can be grinding, we can be doing a lot of things that seem like they're productive. But if it's not aligned with your purpose, you're technically out there wandering in the wilderness. I've done a lot of things that were good, but not everything was aligned with who I was supposed to be. A lot of times it was someone else that was doing something and they were successful. And I saw, I can do this. If they're successful at it, I can be successful too. And then I try it and I get a little bit of success, but they're massively successful. So once I realized that wasn't working for me, I move on to something else and something else and something else. And all the while, my something else's were something that God gave a gift to them for. He didn't give it to me. I was copying their gift. It was a talent that I had, but it was their gift. I wasn't able to reap the full harvest meant for me. So once I was able to sit with myself and put things into perspective and shift it from what I wanted or what I thought I wanted to listening to that inner nudge, which I now know is God's direction in my life, that's when everything for me changed. I became intentional about where I put my energy, more intentional about protecting my time, way more intentional about letting go of people, situations, and projects that drained me, even if I had already put a lot of time into it. A lot of times we're putting a lot of time into things, and because we've spent so much time on it, it is hard for us to let that thing go. And we just want to force it to work. I was listening to this lady on TikTok, and she has this particular business. It's a restaurant, and her restaurant is not doing good. And she says, I do not know what it is because I've been pouring into this business day and night. I put all my money in. I put my savings in. I put my retirement in. She lost it all, but she also didn't want to give it up. And she said out of her own mouth, I keep feeling like God doesn't want me to do this, but I don't want to let it go because of all of the investment that I put into it with my time and with my money, and everything that I pretty much owned is in this business. So I have to make it work. And we as people say that about a lot of things. We put so much time and attention into other people. We put time and attention into situations. We put time and attention into side businesses or hobbies, and they don't pop off, but we don't want to let it go because we feel like we're owed something because we chose to put that time in. So once I stopped doing that very thing, whether or not I put a lot of time into something, while it was hard to do in the beginning, a lot of things started coming together. And for the first time in a long time, I am working, but I'm not working hard. I'm working on purpose. I'm not forcing things to fall into place. They are naturally aligning. Now I feel as if I am starting to see the real harvest show up, and it doesn't feel like I'm grinding for success. I'm able to rest in knowing I'm doing what I need to do for God to bless what He actually planted in me, using my gifts, walking in the path that He intended for me to walk in. And I feel like that's a lesson for all of us this season as we move into this fall reset. It's not just about doing more. It's more about doing what's aligned. So if you could think about the next few months like this, if you continue in the same environment with the same people and the same habits and the same mindset, what is actually going to change for you? I know the answer, but what do you think is going to change if nothing changes? Reaping your harvest requires consistency, intentionality, and alignment. It requires evaluating what you're sowing today and making sure it's connected to what you actually want to harvest. And sometimes, unfortunately, that does mean letting go of the things that are not good. Not necessarily bad either, but they're just not aligned so that you can make space for the things that truly are. So your homework this time is more of like a fall reset challenge. I think now would be a great idea to look at the inventory of all that you've actually sown this year. Now, if you're like most people, you're going to say you've done all the things. And while that's probably fair to say, think about what all the things are and identify what was actually aligned with your purpose and what wasn't.
Now, I know I'm going to be stepping on some toes and snatching some edges when I say this, but I really do say this with love. Your role in this life is not necessarily your purpose. Meaning, you're not just a mom. You're not just a spouse or a sister or a niece. Those are day-to-day roles and responsibilities. But those are not the sole reasons that you were created. Every single person on this planet, including you listening to me today, you have something that you were gifted with so that you can share with the world around you. And chances are you're not doing that. Chances are you sit and think about what you could be doing and what you should be doing, and you still are telling yourself, but you don't have time. Perhaps you do have time, but you treat that thing like it's a hobby and you're the only person who knows about it. So I'm challenging you to use this season intentionally. Pivot your energy, your focus, and your action for the next 3 months into aligning with what you were truly meant to do. You might not know exactly what it is yet, and you might not even fully understand what it will take, but now is the time to sit, reflect, pray, and plant actions towards it. Remember that it's not about doing more, and it's definitely not about doing everything perfectly, but it is about being consistent, taking intentional steps towards what matters to you most, and so that you can stop wandering around in your wilderness and start flourishing in your promised land. I, for one, am super excited to see what you can do when you start to focus and align over these next few months. That's my challenge. So, if this episode spoke to you, please, I always say this, but share it with a friend who is struggling or feeling stuck. Share it with a friend so they're not wandering around in their wilderness and never reaching their promised land year over year. Please do not forget to leave a review, subscribe, and share this podcast on social media. And thank you, by the way, for the people who have shared it on TikTok. I actually have started seeing that some of the people that are finding this podcast are finding it from TikTok and Audible. And there was another one. I forgot, but I'm going to make sure that I mentioned it. I was like, oh my goodness. But thank you so much. But sharing this podcast could be the nudge that someone else needs to keep going. And your reviews, when you do them, they matter. They really do matter because it also helps the platform continue to push it if they see that this is helping a lot of people. Lastly, I am around in these internet streets. I would love if you all would come connect with me and share what you're aligning with this fall. Let's stick together. Let's lift each other up. Let's hold each other accountable and finish this year strong. I believe in you, so I hope you believe in you too. Talk soon. Thank you for joining me in the Educator Sanctuary, where we create a space for women educators to reclaim their power and prioritize themselves unapologetically. If you've loved what you've heard, please do not forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with other amazing women who need to hear this message. Until next time, remember, you are capable, you are powerful, and you are absolutely worthy. You've got this. Talk soon.